but I've also been involved in a wiki project with Shaolin, which has recently been made public and has started getting a group of users involved, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But just to give you a little bit of an overview, first of all, the word wiki is a Hawaiian term that means quick or fast, and the idea is that people can quickly and rapidly update websites from a collective sense. In other words, in the past when you had a website, you had to go through a tedious editing process and create a bunch of source code perhaps and upload things and do all these steps that resulted in kind of a time-consuming and tightly controlled process. The wiki idea is that there's a group of people who are all perhaps equally qualified to make updates to the website, and so rather than have it depend on one person's expertise, why not open it up and make it easy to edit and change and allow a whole community of users to come in and do the changes. And so the idea of wiki is really that you have a sophisticated, or at least somewhat of a technically aware group of people that can work together to create something that's better than an individual could create on their own. And so that's kind of where these wikis, or what the idea of wiki might be thought to be. Wikis work by, first of all, setting up this collective or group website and then either inviting users or opening it up to the public. So there's a couple different kinds of wiki sites. Of course, if you open a wiki up to the public, you have a lot of issues to consider, like spam, vandalism, issues of people putting their own personal material out there that maybe is for a purpose other than what the wiki's set up for. If you have a semi-private or a wiki that's set up for a particular group of people, like many of us have done for our classes, then you invite only certain users to that and give them particular privileges that allow them to either edit, change, or modify the wiki in some sort of way according to the rules or guidelines that you have in place. So that's just a little about the background of wikis. There's really a couple different kinds of wikis as well in terms of how they're implemented. First, there's wiki websites like this wet paint one that's up on the screen right now. This is a company really that creates wiki space for users, and at the expense of putting advertisement out there and other types of things that allow them to create a revenue stream, they invite you to create accounts and set up your wiki there. Another type of wiki is one where you download or acquire some perhaps open source software like MediaWiki, and you install it on your own server and then use that particular server to create your own wiki site, and that's what we did with ELATEwiki. So that's a little more complicated, but it gives you full control over the wiki, and it creates a database repository of material that is in your possession and not located on some server farm that's outside of your control. So with that in mind, let's take a look at a couple of things that we've been doing here in wikis, and I'll kind of start out the panel by showing a couple of instances of what I've been doing, but mine comes from the perspective that right now the business world, and I teach in the College of Business, so the business world is starting to use wikis more and more to record work procedures, job descriptions, policies, things that people have learned in different projects that they may have worked on. So in the past, a lot of this knowledge was sort of maintained by an individual. It was passed on by word of mouth, maybe through mentorship or things like that. But now more and more it's becoming important to create kind of a corporate knowledge base, so to speak, of implicit types of knowledge that perhaps in the past couldn't be easily recorded. And this is because of the collaborative group way that wikis work. So my first attempt at using wikis has been just to encourage students in an online course, Management 366, to make use of some wiki technology to study for exams in there. So this is kind of a first exposure to wikis for many of them. And in the past, I used to just send them hints for an exam and said, you know, we're having an exam coming up, study these notes and do the best you can on the test. What I decided I wanted to do was to encourage them to collaborate and study with each other, since they're on a distance course. They don't really have somebody next to them to study with, so I thought this might be a venue to encourage their interaction and get them working together a little bit. So I posted a skeletal set of notes out on this website under, and you can see the first exam one. Initially it started as just like, I think it was 18 points I thought they should study. And then I asked the students to go out, work together, and create and fill in this outline. And the first time I did this was several semesters ago now, so this has been going on. This is this semester's result. Every time it's different because I clear it out and I start over again. But they took the 18 points and they expanded it down to what they thought would be 55 points of importance or interest to them. And they expanded each one of those points by putting different things out there and writing information about that. Some of the information was good, some was maybe a little inaccurate. I tried to keep an eye on it and edit that or change it. But they even put different kinds of weird things on there, like what did I do before I was a professor at K-State? They asked what my favorite kind of books were. And, I mean, just weird things that you wouldn't expect to be on an exam, but they delighted themselves in creating these sorts of things. What I found out was that some of the topics they thought were important weren't things that I thought were as important, and so I kind of went back through the material and discovered ways to improve my presentations and my presentation, because I thought if a lot of students are thinking this is important and it's important in their careers, then maybe it needs more emphasis. I also found areas where they didn't seem to understand what I had been talking about, and I was able to go back into the lectures and notes and try to improve on that as well. So this is kind of what's going on in this website. I also posted exam 2 just 2 days ago, or actually yesterday, and it went from some study points to people have started filling in a few things on there and just filling in some information and getting a little bit of study ahead. I post the notes only 2 weeks before the exam at the most, because I don't want them to have those from the beginning and only study to the test. I figure that it's better this way. So that's that website. The second one that I'll show you a little bit about is, let me tell you a little bit more about one other quick application I used in the classroom, and this is in a graduate course. In that class, I cover wikis as a particular topic, and so I do 2 things in there to help them understand wikis. First, I have them create a play wiki, a sandbox, if you will, wiki using wet paint, where they practice with wikis and create a interchange between each other in the class. This is just a way to expose themselves to wikis, get an account, try out something, and create a wiki website that maybe outsiders can use and maybe just class members do. After they get used to that, then I ask them to become members of Wikipedia and contribute some sort of a meaningful topic to Wikipedia. I find that this really motivates the students. Many of them are intimidated, but they like to feel like what they're doing in the classroom extends beyond the walls and out into the real world. So it gives them a bit of motivation for some active learning and to see what they're doing and learning become part of the real world and the body of knowledge out there. Many of their contributions get immediately erased because they aren't accurate or they don't have the proper sources or something like that. So I may ask them to go back and redo it and say, the reason it's erased is because you didn't cite it properly, or it's a way to learn and to make things more robust. I always ask them to make screen captures of what they post, because it may not be there the next day or it may be different. So that's my other in-class use of wikis. The other one that I wanted to show you was ELATEwiki, and I've been working with Shaolin and a team of people from distance learning on this. Dr. Clegg has been involved as well. And this particular website is set up to encourage people to exchange information about e-learning and teaching methodologies. This is a website that professors, instructors, and other higher education people might be interested in using. And this particular website allows you to become a member, and if you become a member, then you can contribute or use or add to the material that's out there. So you can see this page was actually released to the public 2 days ago, I think on March 23rd. We've had 1,000 visitors out there, and we've had a number of people contribute topics to the website. If I look at the topics really quickly, we can see it's divided into kind of 4 main categories at this point in time. But these are all categories and different items that have been added to the wiki in different course areas. Just to pull up an example one, blended learning, for instance, you can see the wiki provides a venue for someone to write that in an outline form and then fill in the details underneath and then add references to that. We have encouraged people to join the wiki and add areas that may be within their area of expertise and putting things together that way. So here's another example with references on there, and see also, and so forth. So this has been a very interesting experience because we've learned a lot about the mechanics of what is good about wikis and what's bad about wikis.